To another video, Herbal Political Talk here. Today is Tuesday, July 27th, 2021, and today I'm going to be discussing the 2020 presidential election and be taking a look at the results and discuss what would have happened if Donald Trump just had performed 1% better in this election, and discuss how that losing, I guess, of that 1% of possible support really cost him the election this time around in 2020. But before we do get started with the video, I do want to remind you guys to like, to subscribe, and to turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. I also wanted to remind you guys that channel memberships are now open if you want to support the channel. That's a great way to do so. In that spirit, I do want to give a very big shout out to our Purple Political Talk channel member, David Maxwell. We really couldn't do this without you. One last quick announcement. Today, I'm going to be going live with UEP at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you guys do not want to miss that. So yeah, now that I've gotten all these announcements out of the way, let's get started with the video. So on your screen, you're going to be seeing the 2020 presidential map. So basically what I've done, the margins are going to be for safe 10 or plus. For lean, or for likely, it's going to be between 5 and 10, and then lean between 1.5 to 5, and then 1.5 or less. Everything else is tilt margins. So taking a look at these results, and I'm using the CNN website for reference, and I guess they have the updated results are going to be the same everywhere. But we see that there's a lot of these states that just became super close, and we're deciding factors, mostly in Georgia, mostly in Arizona, and you could say Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. These were truly deciding factors in this race, and I think at the end of the day, that's something that ended up costing Donald Trump the race. Now, when we talk about what happened if in all these swing states Donald Trump did 1% better, how would have the race shaped out? Well, let's take a look state by state. Let's start with the state of Arizona. So the state of Arizona went to Joe Biden by a margin of 0.4%. It was 49.4% to 49%. So that's a total margin of around 11,000 votes, nearing almost the 10,000 vote mark. So it was a very close race. 1% better would have seen Trump winning this state by, the tilt margin. And, truly, you could say that if you take a look at the results, Donald Trump could have just shifted the whole panoramic in the state with the state of America, or not with the state because it's a state, but with the county of Maricopa County. This is a state that could have brought Trump to a victory in the White House. With just 1% better in the race, I think we would have seen a completely different race. Now, let's go on to some other closer states. Let's go to Georgia, for example. Donald Trump only lost here by 0.3%. Total margin of almost 11,000 or 12,000 votes. So again, we would see this race going tilt to the Republican Party. Now, what is one of the big things I want to mention when we're looking at actually how close the results were? A lot of people say, well, in the future, Georgia is going to be, definitely lean blue, even likely blue, just because, it's going to be hard to turn back. Well, while it may be hard to turn back, I do think that some people undershadow how Donald Trump actually did in 2020. I mean, considering a lot of things, these are big losses, but a lot of people, they just take it's similar to what happened in 2016, where a lot of mainstream media and a lot of folks, they came in and said, well, with how the race is going and, how historically this state has been such way, and they flipped, they made this big deal about it when it was really only by a couple points. And I think moving forward, that could cause an effect similar to what we saw in the Sun Belt, possibly, where the Republicans, maybe not Donald Trump, but someone like Ron DeSantis or someone else moving forward, they could come back and win these states. I think that, generally speaking, Donald Trump is a flawed candidate moving forward. He has just garnered so much unpopularity with a lot of groups of people. And I think that moving forward, for these states to go back, they're going to have to appeal to the suburban voters a little bit better and a little bit more likely voters. And I think with just more appeal to suburban voters in Atlanta and Phoenix, they're probably going to be able to, go on and win the race. Now shifting the focus to other states that were extremely close, has gone to the state of Wisconsin, which the state of Wisconsin had a margin of just 0.8%. That's less than 1%. We would have seen this race narrowly flip somewhere near where it was in 2016. I do think that Wisconsin is a state that really just Biden's Midwest repeal was something that really saved him. If the Democrats had ran someone else at a at the nationwide level, I think if Joe Biden didn't have the Midwest appeal down, they probably could have lost the Rust Belt and probably meant that they were probably going to lose the election. However, this state of Wisconsin was a big factor. It gives Trump 10 electoral votes, putting the matchup at 269 to 269. So I think that if this would have happened, which we're gonna see, I don't think there's actually any more states that would actually change. But if it would have stayed like this, I do think that the election would have been completely different. We probably wouldn't have seen the whole stop the steal, thing with like all of the the Capitol and everything. We probably would have seen a different sort of like scramble to choose a president in a tight electoral scenario. And trust me, I mean, looking back in hindsight, it terrifies me how close we were from a 269 scenario. And definitely this is one of the closest like times you've gotten close to a 269 tied electoral vote scenario in the Electoral College in a really long time. And I think that's something, if this would have happened, I think our country would be divided to levels that I can't even see. Let's go on and check on some other states. I mean, Wisconsin, it did go by a bigger margin for Biden. What I'm seeing here, it went by 1.8%, almost 2%. So, well, no, it didn't go by 2%. That went by 2.4%. There we go. That's the right margin. I'm doing quick math on my feet. So 1% less, that would be barely in the tilt margin for Biden. So nothing much would change electorally, but we would see how Donald Trump, comes in and gains a little bit of support in that region. In the state of Pennsylvania, in this state we saw Joe Biden win by 1.2%, minus 1%. He would still win by the tilt margin, and pretty much everywhere else was I think we could see Nevada actually flip. Let me check on that one. I think the state of Nevada was actually an interesting state because it was a lot closer than people thought. I mean, a lot of people had Nevada like, oh, easily a blowout for the for the Democrats, and that did not end up being the case. And I think at the end of the day, it's something that really going to be the Democrats are going to be asking themselves moving forward. What happened in Nevada and how we can strengthen. So I think this is how the final map would show if Donald Trump did 1% better. Of course, states like North Carolina would go into the lean margin. If I'm correct, Florida would probably stay in that margin. Let's check. Yeah, Florida would stay in the, or actually 1% more if Trump won by a margin of 3.3%. So yeah, 1% more would have made a difference. But yeah, I think this is the actual map we would see if Donald Trump had just performed 1% better in an election. And this map shows us that it would have been a 269 electoral scenario, which is just mind-boggling and, very scary to see. And I think we were very close to this scenario. And I would have rather for either candidate to win by more than for us to have a scenario where the country was at a 269, because truly that's just dangerous for the country. But, this scenario, I think that there is like little things that Trump could have done to actually make a 1% better chance happen. I would just say wear a mask at the beginning of the pandemic, at least public relations. What we have to understand about politics, it's about perception, not really about reality. I don't care if Donald Trump thought that whatever he wanted about the mask, but as a politician, as a leader in our country, he really needed to show the face. And I think truly that's something that really cost him the election, that he wasn't able to put these things aside and, just be a little bit more sensible. And, this race could have definitely been a lot closer. I just think that just the way that the cards were dealt, it didn't really favor Donald Trump. However, moving forward, I do think that the way the cards were dealt in 2020 is long-term going to help the Republican Party. I'm going to make a video about this and talk about it later, but I just think generalizing, I think it's something we should definitely take a look at. So this is the final, electoral map, 269 to 269, very interesting scenario. And yeah, so I hope to see you guys down in my live stream today at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That would be 5 p.m. Pacific time. And it's gonna be great, so you guys shouldn't miss that. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If so, please get a huge thumbs up, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.